All right, guys, so we have, we've had several requests over the past couple months to kind of do a farm tour of sorts and equipment tour. So we've got a nice rainy day here, actually in the middle of harvest, but figured we'd give this a shot. No idea what that was. Not really sure how it's going to go, but I think we're just going to start kind of going through the buildings, and then we'll kind of take a little tour of the equipment. Just got to get started, I guess. So, I don't know how it's going to go, but we'll kind of walk you guys through everything. So we'll start on this end and we'll go across.
Yeah, I mean it's a very humble shop. I mean, nothing fancy.
Yeah. Thankful for what it is, but yes,
yeah,
nothing fancy.
When you got somewhere dry and warm, you really don't care how fancy it is. But no, this half of it, there used to be a mirror image of this half on the other side where the combine's sitting. That there was a wall there, and then the other side was just cold storage.
Yep, just gravel.
It's just gravel. It's where we stored equipment. The ceiling height on this side is 13.5, and we got to the point where we couldn't get a lot of equipment in and out.
Yeah, equipment kept getting bigger, and our shop never got taller.
Yeah, if money wasn't an issue, I would have tore the whole thing
Leveled
down
it
and started over. But we can still get planters. We can probably get 90% of our equipment on this side to work on. We ended up just tearing the north half off and putting in basically it's about 90 feet wide and 18 feet tall. Gives us an area to get the bigger equipment in.
So when we built this, obviously we put in a 50 foot by the full 18 or whatever you lose with the frame. Hydro swing door, so pretty much the large majority of that wall is non-existent when the door's open, and it makes it really nice moving things around. Got a 16 foot by probably 16. Yep. This side actually was kind of sectioned over here for kind of like its own little work bay. We always thought you'd bring a tractor in, change oil or something like that, but
have a lift or something of that nature.
But all it ever has been is truck parking. This is kind of where trucks get pulled in to melt off, and unfortunately there is no drain on this side, so it kind of makes a mess during the winter. This side has floor heat. Got the geothermal, and I don't know if you call it a small boiler type to assist it.
It's just a geothermal, and then on really cold, it does have an electric heater
back up there in the corner
to help when it gets really cold outside.
Yeah. I think what's that side?
66 by 45.
Close enough anyway. I think this side is 45 this way and then close to 90 foot wide. So nothing fancy to the shop, guys, but hey, it does what we need it to, and it gives us a warm, dry place to bring. We get pretty good at packing things in here. Through that door is just where this kind of loft is, where we store all of our random stuff. This used to be a room where Dad had his break room and bathroom. There was nothing real fancy to it, but we add very similar to the same time as that. We kind of added on just a very simple break room and then office where all the paperwork now gets done instead of in your house. And that's pretty much it for the workshop, guys. We'll go ahead and take you out to the cold storage. So that building is actually a very old barn that we had ended up having to re-side or tear down. And There was way too much storage space for junk in there to get rid of it. Wouldn't have a clue what to do with 95% in there if we didn't have that building. But what did you guys used to use that for?
It was livestock. So we fed cattle out there, fed hogs out. You're talking, what, 10-foot ceilings?
Yeah.
So you don't have very little equipment that will fit underneath it. So we basically use it just to store odds and ends, stuff you don't want to get rid of, but you don't know what else to do with.
Exactly. All right, so on to our main cold storage. This is the building that literally just stores equipment. So starting out,
72 feet deep by 168, I believe, 164. Yeah. Whatever that 8.
Yeah, that multiple of 8, because yeah. The door is 24 by 14. The trusses in here are 16 foot. We've currently got our bean head in here, but this is normally where our two, I guess we now have 4, but our 2 main grain trailers kind of sit in here. Actually, I had to come over here and open the doors before we did any of this tour because, well, when did we put this in?
Built it in 2010, I believe.
So 14 years ago, and what does it still not have?
It's got power, but we haven't put any lights up.
No lights, no outlets. We've got the electrical panel over in that corner, and the only thing we've done is ran 1 outlet and an extension cord to our garage door. In 15 years, that's all we've got done. So, oh well, one of these days. That is obviously a full height 16 foot by 40 foot just sliding door. If you thought the shop was basic, this is even more basic. Just a roof and 4 walls really, and that's all we need it for. Keeps equipment out of the weather, which in turn makes things last a lot longer usually. So that's these 3 buildings. That's really it for the home shop. I don't know if that wind's messing with anything. I'll do a tour of Jitville here in a little bit, but I'll probably tack that in here real quick before we get started on the equipment. Well, made it out here to Jitville, and what a lovely day so far. But hey, rain is what's given me the time to do this. So let's get started. And what better place to start than the electrical building? So in here is, ooh, got a dead mouse. Means the poison's doing what it should. Got all of the electrical panels. This is where we control the dryer. We've got our moisture sensor and a bunch of junk. But not much in here. It's just basically you can control everything in Jitville from this room. So coming out here, you've got our main pit, which is only maybe a 50 bushel pit. And then you got the drag going up into our receiving leg all the way up. And these legs are about 140 feet in the air. You've got all your downspouts. So this is our what we call the overhead, and a lot of the times when we're hauling out, we will load the overhead in an evening, and then that way while we're hauling out, trucks can just come in, open the overhead, load, leave, instead of messing with the leg for every load. It's about a 5,000 bushel overhead. Going over to our biggest bin, it is a 60 foot, 45 to 50 foot to the eaves. That's rough. I'm not exactly sure on that, but it holds about 110,000 bushels of corn. It just augers out into the drag and into the leg. That's how we unload it. This bin, that bin, and that bin were the first 3 bins that we put up. They're all 48 foot bins. I think they're closer to the 45 foot to the eaves, but they're each about 57,000 bushels of corn. So we've got a little over 150,000 between those three. Coming over here to this one, this is the latest big bin we've put up. It is another 48 footer. Not sure the height of that one, but it is a little taller than these. And it's about a 72,000 bushel bin. This is the one that we use for our beans. All of the other four are all corn. And because we did not want to commingle corn and beans when we unloaded, the only way we unload this bin is through this vertical. Alright, coming back over here to this side, our dryer is a GSI, I believe it's a 1226 model. In all honesty, I'm not exactly sure what that means, but it holds about 750 bushels, and say 20% corn, you're looking at roughly, I don't know, 1800 bushel an hour. It's not the biggest dryer, but we have yet to run it 24 hours a day through corn harvest, so it is still big enough for what we do. Our newest addition, it is not even finished yet for us, is a 27 foot 11 ring. So this is the same height as this bin. It is a 20,000 bushel wet holding. So normal auger, but it goes into this jump auger, which then goes up to a flop valve, and it can either go to the right down into the dryer, or it can go to the left down into the leg for when we fill with dry corn after we've used it for wet holding. That's a pretty in-depth look at our grain storage facility. The only thing left over here at this location is our liquid fertilizer storage. I am not 100% sure. I do not remember the dimensions. Somewhere in that 40 by 40 range, 40 by 50, I'm not sure. It's big enough that we have enough inside storage that we can put 6 30,000 gallon tanks. So each one of these tanks is 12 foot in diameter and about 30 foot tall. And the only thing we store over here is liquid nitrogen. They are all plumbed together, come into this manifold system. We've got a 3-inch pump ran with a 15 horse motor. Guys, this thing pumps like 280 gallon a minute, which is, for us, is a huge upgrade from the way we used to do it with real tiny 3-inch pumps and just 2,500 gallon ground tanks. We have the capability of using that pump to pull from the tanks into the tanker, or emptying the tanker into the tank. So that's what all those valves do. We've got an 18 foot wide loading pad that is all basically following code to where if we have any spills, I think it's got like if you were to fill that up, it's got like 1,000 gallons of capacity. But that's all it really is to that, just a bunch of liquid storage. That's a pretty good rundown of our entire Jipville facility. And, well, I'll see you guys back at the shop. As far as the equipment goes, there's not going to be any rhyme or reason to the order we go in. It's just going to be, we're going to start on one end and we'll go through. So starting out, we have, this is the side dress bar. It is an Unverferth Nutramax 2600, I believe, but 60 foot width, 2,600 gallon tank. So that's what we side dress our corn with. You come over here, we've got our 2660 VT, which is a pretty high-tech piece of tillage equipment. Everything can be controlled from the cab. Your height, your pitch, your gang angle, your rear baskets. Pretty much everything. It's the only tillage equipment I've ever seen that needs 6 SCVs to operate. that's what we do all of our vertical tillage with. I mean, yes, it'll go up to 12 degrees, so it can be conventional, but most of the times when we're running stalks, it's at 1 to 2 degrees, so we still call it I guess that is vertical tillage.
And all of our cover crop.
And then, yes, and then we've got a Montag air seeder on it. So this is also what we run in the fall when we are seeding cover crops. And then we've got our 32-foot field cultivator. Nothing fancy about that. Every now and then there is still, even though we are no-till, there are still fields that need worked sometimes. So that's what we've got that for. 2020 John Deere sprayer. It's an R4038. So 120-foot booms, 1,000-gallon tank. Personally, it's my favorite machine. I'm more or less the only one that runs this. Dad can, but he can't usually get me out of it if it does need to be ran. And he doesn't try too hard either.
No, I had my fair share of spraying.
Yep. He willingly gave that one up when I got back. Moving over, we've got a J&M 1312 auger cart, 1,300 bushels. Cool thing about this one is it's right-hand dump. If you look at majority of the other ones, they're left-hand. So that's pretty cool about this thing. A 2012 8360R. So front wheel assist, 360 horse. This one is by far our highest hour tractor, so that's why it's usually on the grain cart, because you can easily put several hundred hours a year on a tractor with a grain cart. And then our newest tractor, which is a 2022 8R340. So it is the next newer body style than that one. This one actually does not get ran much. We've put Yield 360 tanks on it, so it gives us 720 gallons of fertilizer on the tractor, because this tractor basically plants corn. And then this fall it will be on the air seeder. 15-foot chopper, mows grass. 6130R, 130 horse. This thing is literally mated to the chopper. That's what it's for. It is amazing the maneuverability of this tractor when you're mowing. I would never choose to go back to a bigger tractor mowing roadsides if I didn't have to. We'll come over here to an 8335R, 335 horse. Same tractor, just a little lower horse.
14 or a 16, I can't
One
remember.
of the two. That year really, hours is what matters the most. Year is kind of a second factor. And then we have a 2004 1790 that is 40 foot, and this is our bean planter and what we plant wheat with. You can see the row units on this do raise, so it could be planted on 30-inch centers or 15 with all the units down. Everything we do is with 15s. A 2013 1770 NT, 40 foot as well, strictly 30 inch as you can tell. It's our corn planter. Pretty much we have done a serious amount of work on this. Pretty much everything, I think, except for the closing wheels is all precision planting. Nothing on this is Deere anymore, other than the bar and the tanks. Dad wants to ignore the infamous camper, but it's been such a staple in all of our videos, which it is now in the cold storage, so
yeah,
it'll be in less videos.
Yeah, it's almost 30 years old, so it's just a camper that Mom and Dad had, and when they bought a newer, bigger one, it just kind of
became yours, and
it just hung around. And
we have
we used it a lot when you were
so
kids.
many childhood memories in this thing. Like, it's even got its own smell, guys. Like, you open the door and it's like boom, no, it's not. Yeah, Dad wanted to clarify. No, it's not a bad smell. It's just
it smells like the camper.
It's the camper smell, and you just get hit with that, and it's like childhood. But we've got a small 580 Super M backhoe. No idea what year. Thing's a workhorse. This thing, really cool. Not fun to run, but it's cool. It's a 60-foot ATV sprayer, 200-gallon. Actually has a gooseneck hitch. But there have been several years in the past where I have ran every acre of burn down with this because wet springs, you can't get in with the big machine. It gets to a point you've got to get in and get sprayed, so you move to this thing. Gold digger tile plow. This is what 3-point hooks to our tractor, and this is what we put all of our drainage tile in with. Pulled a lot of feet of tile through that thing.
A lot of feet.
And then our oldest 8 series tractor, 8230, which is one step older than this body style. And it's right around 200 horse. It doesn't get used a ton anymore, but those times in spring when you're planting corn and beans, you're running corn stalks, and then throw this on the field cultivator if you've got washes or something to work in. So there are times that we do have to have 4 tractors, and that's why this one sticks around. And then we've got our 40-foot flex draper bean head. It's 40 foot, it flexes, it cuts beans. Not much more to say about that one. Real quick, we'll just make our way around the lot. Our water trailer, when we're not spraying out of the tanker, this is what holds about 4,000 gallons of water. All of our chemical, we mix it as we load it into the sprayer. Grain trailer, hauls grain. Currently hooked to our 2020 T680. All automatic. It's got a Cummins in it. Very nice truck. 07 International 9400i. Extremely short wheelbase, extremely rough riding truck. But it's the one that sits on the water trailer, basically whatever just goes around the farm. It doesn't get a lot of highway miles. Come over here, we've got a Kenworth T800. This one's a manual. Yeah. Not much. I don't know what to say about them. It's a semi that pulls our trailers around. This is a 2014 Drake trailer. This one's all steel compared to the other two that are aluminum. Fun fact, steel makes it the heaviest trailer we have, but takes less substructure, so it can fit the most. So if you want a truck to break 100,000 out of the field, that's the trailer to do it on. Alright, so in the shop we've got quite a bit of stuff packed in here right now because middle of harvest, like I said, everything's raining, and nobody likes a wet combine if you can help it. So that's why everything's packed in here. But starting over here, we got a 1,000-gallon fuel tank, a piece of equipment in the fall and spring that we could not do without. 01 GMC, this is basically our dedicated service truck, shop truck, with a welder generator, air, tools, workspace. You get it. Everybody's got a shop truck. 2024 S780 combine. It's not 4-wheel drive, being no-till. We don't seem to have problems with that. Large super singles on the front. Your typical Class 8 combine. We've got a folding 12-row corn head. This is actually only our 3rd year running a 12-row, and let me tell you guys, it has been a game changer for efficiency. Our What year is this, Kyle? Do you know? 50 something, I think. 54. Close enough. We'll call it if it's mid 50s. I don't remember. 1954. We're gonna say John Deere R. Our great grandfather actually worked in the field with this thing. So as you can tell, it is currently in the middle stages of a complete overhaul, which we actually started last winter, hoping to finish up this winter. Our third grain trailer with the new to us 2020 Kenworth T880. This truck is by far, I guess, the most desirable truck we've got because of the wheelbase, full fenders, maybe a little weight reduction. It's just an overall nice truck. Except for right now, Dustin, what are you dealing with?
Oh, an air leak in the cab.
Yeah.
Behind the dash.
A 2007 9200i International. It's kind of very similar to the white one we've got out back, except for the fact that this one has a blown engine. We're just waiting on a mechanic to tell us yay or nay on fixing it, and this thing more or less is junk. And Kyle's about to roll a jack across the floor on me.
Make a whole bunch of noise. That's all I was like.
That's all right. An old forklift. I want to say 1960s. But still does a lot of work around the shop here for us. And really, guys, the only thing I can think of that's not here right now is our 2002 excavator. Dad has a lot of fun in that in the winter. Our skid steer, which is actually over at Jitville. And there was dozer. We've got a small dozer that we do some dirt work every now and then. Well, that's just about everything I can think of. So if there's anything I forgot, or if you've got any questions about any of the equipment or buildings or anything with the operation, just leave a comment and I'll try to answer them as I can. So hope you guys enjoyed the tour. Hit that subscribe button for us if you haven't. It really helps out a lot. And hopefully we see you in some other videos.